team and probably the best offensive team Cal's had in a while, I would say, and a lot of balance. How tough is that to prepare for them?
They're very explosive and can give it to you from all different levels and all different ways. Great speed. A team that can really go on big runs against you, and I think he would probably be happy that he's getting a little bit more balance all the way around. But really, really explosive basketball team. And they obviously present problems. We've always had a team that would run. I mean, we've always talked about transition being a big key playing against Kentucky because of how fast they can get down the floor and get in the open court and try to play in space. And so transition defense is really important, obviously, and knowing that they've got guys that can, if they get space, and they don't need space, they've got some guys that can play off the bounce, but also guys that can really go up and make some very difficult shots.
Where's the balance? Obviously, you guys want to play quick. You guys want to get out in transition of finding a way to do that offensively, but not letting Kentucky run.
Well, again, I think it'll be, the last two games we played against teams that, are going to play a more slower, lower possession game. This game, I don't think it'll be a lower game because we're going to do what we do. They're going to do what they do. And with that in mind, I think it'll be a high-level, high-tempo game.
What makes them so efficient from beyond the arc?
Well, one, they can shoot the ball. I would say the same thing about our guys. You want to recruit guys that can put the ball in the basket and hope that they work hard to get themselves set up against good defenses that are trying to take it away from them. But the fact is that I think that they, again, I've always thought his team was one that looked to attack early, and I think this team is probably like that and maybe quicker, but he's got guys that can shoot, and he's telling them to shoot it.
What's your reaction been like for your guys the last couple of days coming out of that South Carolina game?
Well, I think as obviously pointed out the things that we didn't do well, and again, I've told you guys before I could talk about what we didn't do, but it sounds like sometimes you're taking away from the team that won the game, and I don't ever want to do that because we had just as much chance to win the game as South Carolina. They did what they had to do, we didn't. And but you look at what you didn't do, and honestly, it goes back to things that we've talked about all year. Can we be consistent? What can we count on every single night? And whether it's ball screen coverage, guys want to take chances when they shouldn't, and just not being sound discipline-wise. And like I told him yesterday, as a coaching staff, it's our job to teach them basketball, and it's their job to learn it. And we should be talking about some things that we've been talking about for 2 months now.
What is it clicking for Josiah in terms of shooting, scoring, maybe the way he was early in the season?
It'll come back to him. There's no doubt in my mind. I've said it about Jordan Gainey. I've said it about every guy that you've ever coached, that they go through it, and all they can do is get in the gym, do what they've always done, stay with their routine. And as you know, Joe's been a guy that has worked hard his whole life, and he'll get it going out. I don't have any question or doubt about that.
You talked about them sitting around and waiting on Dalton to kind of bail them out the other night. Was that just the other guys getting too complacent, too comfortable? Is that just a bad habit that formed because of his hot streak here of late?
Well, I mean, if you really think about the game, and I'll tell you exactly how I explained it to him. You start the game missing layups. That's like, I actually used, I said, could you imagine the first play of the Super Bowl, a running back comes down and fumbles the ball? And then you have 3 fumbles, then you go back and you try to throw 3 straight Hail Marys. And the first 3 threes we took were all good if we had made those shots that we needed to make. And so the teaching point to them was, okay, at some point in time, you got to realize the flow of the game, what's going on, what we need to do. And because we want guys to take shots. We've talked about that a lot, but when you start digging yourself in a hole, then you're down 7-0, whatever it may be, then you say, okay, where do we get somewhere? And like I told Dalton yesterday, the first 3 that he took would be a 3 that you take, but being down 7-0 right there, he needed to put pressure on the basket. And that's part of the learning process, obviously, but we don't want to lose our aggression. And but we need, you're not, if you're missing 10 shots at the rim and don't do a good job at the free throw line, that puts you in for a long night, and you hope you can find a way to pull it out, but we weren't able to.
How important is that start going to a place like Rupp with the tempo they play at? Kind of feels like maybe going to Carolina and things like that could happen if a slow start happens. How do you talk to the guys about the importance of that?
Well, again, we talk about all that with them, and I just want us to be a confident team. I want us to be a team that I know that we can be. And I want to, you go back, whether you're talking about Josiah or Santi or Jordan or Dalton, anybody, I want us to do what we practice. And we think if we do what we practice, and you know, there's going to be no undefeated teams in college basketball. And, you know, I think that, you know, I was watching the game last night against Wisconsin and Nebraska. And Nebraska had won 120 straight games when they had a 15-point lead. Last night, all at once, I've known Fred Hoiberg for a long time. His team started making some shots, and as a coach, you just sit back and think, it's one of those nights, because they made some really tough shots, and it happens to everybody that stays in it. And what you hope is that at the right time, you keep building, and it's all about getting better and hoping that we can be the best team we can be when it counts most.
You weren't sure the other night what went wrong for Jonas. Do you have any idea now, looking back at that game or talking to him about what was going on?
No, I don't. I don't, because the shots he missed, you know, you guys know he's been making them. He's a good shooter. He does a lot of good things. And again, it goes back to, I just got off an interview with Joe Rexrod, and he was telling me about Jonas's loves cologne. Got like 60 bottles of cologne. I'm just going to suggest that whatever cologne he wore the other night, he doesn't wear it anymore. You know? But what I love about what Jonas did, he came back and had a great day of practice yesterday. In years past, I mean, he's done that this year. I mean, I think he realizes how important he is to us and what we need him to do. And he wasn't happy, and he knows that those are hard things to overcome. But again, his response was terrific.
Coach, is there a guy you would probably worry less about bouncing back from a bad game than Zakai? Just his mental toughness.
No, it doesn't matter within a game. He'll bounce back, and but we need a lot of guys to just be the confident players that we want them to be, and just do the things that we practice. And we do that, I promise you, we're going to win more games than we lose.
Rob talked to us on Monday about how not everybody's played their best at the same time. Is there more frustration that you're to February and you haven't had that, or more excitement that there's more out there for this team, more improvement?
Well, you're always excited about the improvement, and you hope that you have a team where not all the main guys that you're counting on don't have good nights, but the fact is we're in February now, and it's time to go. Where you've got to, I mean, we've said the word consistency a lot, and we've got to understand that we've got to control. You can't always control making shots. You can control ball screen coverage. You can control blocking out. You can control standing in front of the basketball. The things that you can control, you have to control, and that's from this point on. That's what we've got to do, because everybody we play on our schedule is capable of beating us on any given night if we're not ready to take those challenges on.
What do you want to see out of Tobey to adjust in order to get back on track a little more?
Well, again, just understanding again what we need him to do night in and night out, and we need. And every team's going to play differently. You know, some teams are going to stay at home more on the perimeter, take away this guy, that guy. So game to game, he's got to make those adjustments the way he's played. I mean, the opportunities he's going to get, he's got to be ready for them. And with that said, we need him to do it.
Anything else for Coach?
What do you have to do to slow down a three-level scorer like Antonio Reeves?
I don't know if you can slow any good scorer down. You just got to hope he's going to have to take more shots than he needs to get what he normally gets. Guys that can really score the ball, you know, you've got to make them work as hard as you can to earn points, knowing that if you're averaging 20 points a night, you know, you're going to, I mean, that's tough to guard, but you just got to make them work for every one of them, and again, hope that he's got to take more shots to get to that number.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.